We're going to look at what Adobe Flash refers to as classic text. In order to create some classic text, I'm going to click on my little text tool from my tool panel. I'm going to make sure my property panel, that classic text is selected. And then I'm going to simply click on my stage and add some text. If I select my text, I have a sizing handle, and I can adjust the size. So now it's going to autofill and wrap around based upon the size of my box. I can make this box bigger. If I go to my property panel, under my paragraph settings, I can choose do I want to be left justified, center aligned, right justified, or if I have multi-line enabled, I can do full justification. Likewise, under my property panel, I can do things such as adjust the font that I want to use. Now the font is not stored inside the Flash player, so the end user has to have this font. But what happens if they don't have the font that you used? Well, it's going to default to something else, and it may not be what you want. There's two ways around this. First, I can click on my drop-down box, and up at the very top of my list, you notice you have an underscore sans, underscore serif, and underscore typewriter. These three are built in, and they use this default system fonts for your sans serif, and your typewriter or your monospace fonts. However, that's very limiting. So what you can do instead is right underneath your font family, you can choose the embed option. When you choose the font embedding, it's going to open up a brand new window. I like to give it a good, meaningful name, usually the name of my font, and I like to specify as embedded. It already has the font that you've already got selected, and now you get to choose which glyphs you want to incorporate. Do you want to incorporate the uppercase, the lowercase, numbers, punctuation? All you have to do is click on those checkboxes. This way, you only need to include the absolute characters that you need to have. This makes your download much smaller because you're only incorporating the characters that you want to include. So for example, if you knew you weren't going to use any numbers, you could simply uncheck that and save that space. Likewise, you may not use very many uppercase, so you uncheck the uppercase. You might say, but what about those characters I do need? Well, then you can come over here to where it says also include these characters and include the one or two characters you need. This keeps it very small and easy for your users to download. When you're ready, click OK. You'll notice that you can also change your font size. You can either type in a number, or you can click and drag to the left or the right. You can also change the color. By default, the text is the color of your paint bucket, your fill color, but you can change that color after the fact. You can change how you want the anti-aliasing. And we've already seen some of the paragraph alignment. Additionally, you can change spacing, margins, line spacing, and more. Now this is all for the static text. You have three types of text total in classic text. You have static. The static text is unchanging. You also have dynamic. When you choose dynamic, the text stays the same. However, you get a new instance. That instance is very important because it allows you to change the contents within that text box using ActionScript. But you have to give it an instance name. You also have input text. Input text is designed to have the user type into the box. So now they can take form input and use it later on in ActionScript, or send it to a server. With static text, if we come down here under our bottom row for our characters, you notice that I have the ability to make the text selectable. That way the person can highlight it. However, with dynamic text and with the input text, I also have the ability to render as HTML, so I can pass in HTML text, and to show a border around my text. This is a very simple, plain, flat-looking border, which fits in with our flat design style, but also lets the user know that it's a text box that the person has the ability to enter it into. So it provides a couple of layers of functionality, depending upon how you want to use it. If you found this video tutorial helpful, please like and share it with others. If you want to keep up with other videos that are coming out, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. That way, you can get the most up-to-date information.